Olá, boa tarde a todos. Eu sou Ricardo Lopes Cardoso, coordenador do mestrado acadêmico e doutorado em administração da EBAPE Fundação Getulio Vargas. Tenho o prazer de apresentar o programa por meio deste webinar aqui hoje com vocês. Antes de começar, fazer só uma observação rápida. Eu, Ricardo, concordo em participar desse evento de forma espontânea e, com isso, autorizo o uso da imagem para essa transmissão, que ficará disponível posteriormente nos canais oficiais da Fundação Getulio Vargas. Então, isso aqui já antecipa a informação a vocês todos de que, subsequentemente, o áudio e o vídeo desse nosso encontro, assim como a apresentação, ficarão disponíveis para consulta, seja no site da escola ou em outros canais com link no site da escola. Eu vou, então, compartilhar a minha tela para a gente começar a apresentação. Estou tentando compartilhar minha tela, um segundinho só, agora acho que foi. Pronto, espero que vocês estejam vendo. Então, vamos lá. Eu sou Ricardo, coordenador do mestrado acadêmico e doutorado em administração da Fundação Getulio Vargas. Na coordenação do programa, eu tenho a honra de trabalhar com a Danusa Vasconcelos, que é Admissions Officer, a Davis Blanche, Blanche Davis, que é a Program Assistant, e a Daniele Santos, que é a Program Manager. Muito provavelmente, se vocês telefonarem, entrarem em contato por e-mail ou por telefone com a coordenação, vocês serão atendidos, muito provavelmente, pela Daniele e pela Blanche, e se vocês irem encontrar em contato com a equipe de admissões, serão atendidos pela Danusa e, claro, por mim naquilo que for necessário. Considerando que o curso é 100% ministrado em inglês, agora eu vou apertar a tecla SAP e vou passar a falar, então, em inglês, para ser mais coerente, né? Porque a gente espera que a audiência desse evento seja uma audiência internacional, já que esse é o público-alvo que nós buscamos atingir com esse programa. So, welcome all of you. It's a pleasure to receive all of you here on the webinar about the Master and PhD program in Business Administration, Public Sector Administration at Fundação Getulio Vargas, EBAPE. I'm Ricardo Lopes Cardoso, and as I just said, if you contact us, you might keep in touch with Daniele Santos, Blanche Davis, or Danusa Vasconcelos, or myself. So, talking about the program of the Academic Graduate Studies in Administration at Fundação Getulio Vargas, EBAPE, is composed of the Master and the PhD in Administration. The courses are interconnected and share the same values and principles. The program is accredited by EFMD Equis, as well as by the AACSB. And here in Brazil, we are supervised by the federal government, CAPES, who assesses all the post-grad programs, and they assign a grade. The highest grade they assign to any program is at most number 7, and we are very proud to be a grade 7 program in administration here in Brazil. What's the main purpose of the program? We split that purpose depending on the course's master or PhD. Regarding to the master program, the main purpose is to prepare students to become PhDs, either at FGV or at some other distinguished institution in Brazil or elsewhere in the world, or for the job market as well. But the purpose of the PhD program at EBAPE is to prepare students for academic careers as research professors, either at universities, other academic institutions, as well as in Brazil or abroad. And then I wonder that you should ask yourself, why would you join EBAPE? Why would you study in our master program or PhD program in administration at Fundação Getulio Vargas EBAPE? Well, I have an answer that is funded in 4 main pillars, and these 4 pillars are represented in this slide. So EBAPE offers a road-renewed faculty, a high quality and rigorous training, an inspiring academic experience, and we have top-notch students. So what do all these 4 pillars mean? Regarding the world-renewed faculty, I can say that all of our faculty has international experience. Either they were born and took all the education abroad, or they took their PhD abroad, or postdoc, or even they were academic professors in high-level, very well-renewed universities in Europe, in the US, in Canada, for example. Regarding our research is also international. We publish papers in international journals, in top-tier international journals. We serve as peer reviewers for top-notch international journals as well. We work in coauthorship with leading scholars from the best universities all over the world as well. And I might say that our faculty is highly productive. The productivity of our faculty is a very relevant asset, because as you see, if you go through the CV of our faculty, we publish a lot, and we publish in very, very well-renewed academic journals. So that's what we mean by a road-renewed faculty. Regarding the high quality and rigorous training, first of all, considering that English is the language of science, the program is fully taught in English. That's why I'm speaking English with you, and we really aim to attract not only Brazilians as students, but students from anywhere, elsewhere in the world. The program is organized as a full-time program. What do I mean by a full-time program? The master program duration is 21 months, while the PhD program has a 48 months period. So since you start, you are in the selection process for the 2021 cohort. So classes will start in January 2021. So you might defend your master thesis by September 2022, or you might defend your PhD dissertation by December 21st, 2nd, or 24th, 2024. So in the meanwhile, in this period, what do we expect from you? That you dedicate yourself entirely to the program. But then you might ask, can I work? Okay, if you come for the selection process and you work, you can apply for the selection process. If you are an outstanding candidate, we might select you even though we will demand from you as if you were in a full-time dedication, if you were full-time dedicated to the program. So working is not accepted as an excuse for underperforming in the program. Notice that the majority of your colleagues in the program will be full-time dedicated to the program, and we will expect from you the same as we expect from all other students, despite if they work or not. So again, the program is designed for full-time dedicated students. If you work and you want to apply to give you a chance, if you are an outstanding candidate, you might be selected, but there will be no waive for you due to the fact that you work. Okay, keep that in mind, please. And how is the master program structured? It is structured on a set of courses that you might take. You might take in total 14 courses that represent 28 credits. Each course has 2 credits, so each course is composed of 30 hours in classroom. It means 10 meetings of 3 hours each in classroom. So which courses are these? We have method courses, named Statistics 1A, Statistics 1B, and you might choose between quantitative data collection analysis or comparative historical methods. So you need to take those 3 method courses, and you might take at least 4 courses from the research track that you choose. We have 4 research tracks. Once you apply, you need to identify which of those 4 tracks you are most interested in, and then you might take at least 4 courses from that research track. And more 5 elective courses. And which elective courses are these? Any course that we offer in the program. You can take more method courses, you can take more research track courses, or you can take any other course from any other research track, even though you are not enrolled in that specific research track. You might take other research track courses as elective courses. And you might also decide to take up to 2 courses outside the program. You can go to another school at FGV to take up to 2 courses there, or any other program outside FGV as well. You might also attend to the graduate seminars for a 1-year period. That's why we have here 4 graduate seminars, since our courses are offered in quarters. So, and the academic year at EBAPE is similar to the civil calendar. So we have 4 quarters in a year, during a year. So classes start in January until March, first quarter, April, June, second quarter, and so on and so forth. And on the top of that, you might also take 2 credits under the course that we call Supervised Research Seminars. What is it? These are meetings with your supervisor, the supervisor of your master thesis, that you might take individually with your supervisor or together with other colleagues, also supervised by the same professor. So in total, considering those 14 courses plus the the dissertation defense, you will take in total 34 credits. So our master program is composed of 510 hours. Notice that the 30 hours in class course means on average that each course will demand you on average 60 to 75 hours. So if there are 30 hours in classroom, it might demand you from due to readings and writings and reflections and other demands from the faculty. It might take you something around 30 to 45 hours outside the classroom. And how about the PhD? How is our PhD program organized? Very similarly to the master program, but the method courses that you might take in the PhD are 6 in total. They are machine learning in business research and panel data analysis, plus 4 other method courses that you will choose to take with much freedom. It's up to decide. If you did not graduate from the master from EBAPE, you will be required to take among those 4 courses of your free choice. Won't be so free choice, because you might take the statistics 1A, 1B, the qualitative data collection, and the analysis of core comparative historical methods course. So again, only if you didn't take the master here, you might take those method course from the master before joining these courses from the PhD. Talking about the research track, the research tracks are the same for the master or the PhD program, those 4 research tracks. If you are enrolled in the PhD, you might take 5 courses from the research track you choose, plus 4 elective courses. Again, the elective courses follow the same rules. You might take more method courses or more courses from the research track you choose, or other courses from other research tracks, or you might take up to 2 courses outside the program. It means within FGV or outside FGV, another PhD program, of course. And you might also attend to 1 year of graduate seminars and 4 credits of supervised research seminar. So in total, there are 17 courses, 36, credits, plus the PhD dissertation defense. In total, there are 48 credits. It means 720 hours. And again, the same average calculation applies for the PhD courses. If we are talking about a 30-hour course, it will demand you plus 45 hours outside the classroom. So in total, each of these courses will demand you something around 75 hours, between 60 to 75 hours, considering in classroom and outside the classroom. Now, what do I mean by in classroom? Traditionally, all our courses were taught in the building before the pandemic. Now, since the pandemic, since March this year, we moved immediately to the online platform. At EBAPE, we use Zoom. So since March, due to the pandemic, we moved to Zoom. So far, we are still only at Zoom. We had not returned to the building yet. We might return to the building as soon as possible, as soon as the authorities allow us to do so, not only the governmental authorities, but as well as the top administration from FGV. And then we will decide whether we will return fully to the building, or if we will offer our courses hybridly. I mean, in the building for those that want to go there to attend class in person, as well as through Zoom. We will decide that in the meantime. For a while, consider that it's it's demanded that you stay around to go to the building as soon as we are allowed to return to the building, okay? Regarding the 4 research tracks I just said, they are Institutions, Policy and Government, coordinated by Professor Carlos Pereira, Behavioral and Decision Sciences, coordinated by Professor Ishani Agrawal, Strategy Management Organizations, coordinated by Professor Olivier Bertrand, and Finance, coordinated by Professor Lars Norden. I do suggest you to visit our website. You have the address at the bottom of this slide to read about the research tracks, to read about which professor work in each of these research tracks, and then you can go through the CV of those professors to see what we do, what we publish, what we research about, because you need to identify which of these research track most interests you. So when you apply for the selection process, you need to choose your first best option, research track, and your second option for research track. And then you need to take, you remember, some credits, 4 in the master or 5 in the PhD, specifically within this, though, any of those research tracks. And we expect that your master thesis or your PhD dissertation will be related to any of these research tracks, the research track that you choose. So it's very important that you know what we do and what we research about within all of these research tracks to choose which one you are most interested in, okay? And still talking about the high quality and rigorous training, EBAPE has some research centers, and these research centers are another very, very, very valuable asset for our PhD and master students. Here I bring the information about 4 of our research centers. We have the Center for Banking and Finance Research in Rio, coordinated by Professor Lars Norden. We have the Center for Behavioral Research in Rio, coordinated by Professor Eduardo Bittencourt Andrade. We have the Centro de Excelência e Inovação em Políticas Educacionais, coordinated by Professor Claudia Costin. And we have the Applied Research Center in Accounting and Analytics, coordinated by myself. I do suggest you, in addition to reading about the research tracks, also read about these research centers. You have the link on the bottom of this slide as well, where you can find what we do, the activities, the events we organize within each of these research tracks, the portfolio of publications that we have, and so on, and opportunities for scholarships related to each of these or any of these research tracks, research centers. You also have information in our website. Then, inspiring academic experience. Mainly due to the graduate seminars, I said that either master or PhD students are required to take 1 year attendance in the graduate seminars. And what are the graduate seminars? Sessions that we organize on average at each Wednesday morning, every 15 days, every 2 weeks, we offer them. And what do we do in those graduate seminars? We invite visiting professors to present their research project that they are still underway, or papers that they had just published. So brand new research that they present the research in details for 1.5 hours, including the Q&A session about the research they have done. And much of the faculty members also attend to these seminars together with our students, with you. And at the end of those 1 hour and a half, the faculty leaves the classroom and leaves the students with the visiting professor to discuss whatever they want to discuss. And that's a very interesting session because our students can ask the visiting professors whatever they want to ask. Like if consider that the visiting professor is not from Brazil, he's working in another university elsewhere in the world, and then you want to know about how is the job market in that country, how is the job market in that specific university. Or if you are a master's student and you intend to apply for a PhD abroad, you can ask the visiting professor about the application for a PhD in his or her university as well. So there is a very, very pleasant moment to discuss research and academic way of life, let's say like that. I hope that the pandemic is finished as soon as possible so we can go back to the building, because after the session, the graduate seminar sessions, we invite the visiting professor for a lunch, and we use to invite up to one student to participate in this lunch with us. Faculty members, the visiting professor, and up to one student. And we use to select the student that is doing a research, that's researching in the field as close as to the field of the visiting professor. So you can also benefit from that extra opportunity to discuss about research and academic life. And international exchange. We do exhort our students to go abroad. So there are the doctoral stay, this doutorado sanduíche, as we used to say in Brazil. PhD students, after the conceptual paper, after they get the approval of the conceptual paper, and of course, the conceptual paper might be submitted only after all credits have been completed by students. So first of all, PhD students need to take all the courses, complete all the credits, then submit and get the approval on the conceptual paper. Once you get the approval on your conceptual paper, we like stamp your passport and you are free to go for a doctoral sandwich anywhere where you intend to go. We suggest that PhD students stay in doutorado sanduíche for a period between 6 to up to 12 months, usually not more than 12 months. And of course, there is also the opportunity for master students for an international experience. And for master students, after concluding all the courses, all the credits in the courses, and getting the approval from his or her supervisor on the research project, the passport of the master student is also receives a stamp, and then you can go for an international experience. We suggest master students to stay abroad something between 3 months up to 6 months, and hopefully you will return before you defend your master thesis or your PhD dissertation. About money to support you while you are abroad. EBAPE is granted by CAPES with the CAPES Sprint, a program for internationalization of master and PhD programs. Hence, we have some resources from CAPES Sprint that we can use to support, financially support your doutorado sanduíche or your stay outside, abroad, while you are in the master program. However, the CAPES Sprint is very specific because it is related to specific research projects. So if you are a PhD student at EBAPE and you want to apply for a scholarship in the scope of CapSprint, notice that you need to do your PhD research specifically related to the research problem, research theme of the CapSprint research project that we have approved there. If it's not your case, no problem. We can try to find other resources to help you, support you while you are outside Brazil, but it is contingent to the circumstance that you will face in the time you apply for such a scholarship. It's not, I'm not saying that you will receive, but we will do all our effort to help you receiving some or any support to help you. Specifically, as we know, the foreign exchange rate is quite crazy nowadays. Now, and finally, why would you also join us in addition to those three reasons: road renewed faculty, high quality and rigorous training we offer, the inspiring academic experience that you can live at EBAPE. Another, the fourth reason is you and your colleagues. At EBAPE, we have top-notch students. We have really very, very good students. The selection process is very tough, and that's why those that are selected are really very good, really good students, and you can benefit from exchanging experiences with your colleagues, either from the master or PhD program. Our students are very well geographically diversified. We have students from many different cities and countries, from Brazil or Americas, and as well as from other countries. We used to have students from Poland, Italy, China, Russia, USA. I always forget someone, France, and so on. So we are very proud of the geographical diversity of our students. On the top of that, our students are also very well diversified in academic terms. We have definitely many students that have a background in administration, but we have many students with very different backgrounds from accounting, economics, law, psychology, medicine, physics, and many different areas. They took the undergrad program. So on the top of the geographical, they are also academically diversified. And we are very proud of that. Now, talking about money, fee and grant. How much is the tuition fee? All students accepted for the Master and PhD program will be exempted from any fees and duties. So it means that you will pay nothing to study with us in the Master or PhD program in administration. De mestrado acadêmico e o doutorado em administração da EBAPE. In addition, on the top of not paying anything, we will also do the most effort to offer you a scholarship to dedicate yourself entirely, full-time dedicated to the program. So, scholarships. The program offers study grants to students for their upkeep based on the student's progress, performance, and full commitment studies under the program. So if you don't work, if you are full-time dedicated to the program, and you have a good performance in the courses, you will receive a scholarship. Your scholarship might be funded by resources made available by CAPES, CNPq, FAPERJ, or FGV's own budget. If you have more students applying for a scholarship than the scholarships granted by the government, FGV offers you a scholarship with its own budget. Or we can offer you if you do your research in the same problems, in the same field or theme of the research centers projects. And if we have, as we used to have, resources at the research centers, we might pay your scholarship from the budget of the research centers if you work in the same field of the interest of the research center, and if you help the research center in doing their own research. So, what's your investment in the program? It's your time, your dedication, your commitment, and your success, not your money. And on the top of that, we might also offer you additional scholarship. The program offers opportunities to students to double their scholarship. Yes, that's true. So on the top of not paying anything and receiving a regular scholarship, you will have the opportunity, if you take the opportunity, to double, or in other words, to receive an additional scholarship from the program, either working as a teaching assistant or a research assistant, or as I just said, working within the projects of the research centers. You might double your scholarship. So it is quite okay. You might not get rich within those 21 months or 48 months, but you might be able to pay almost the majority of your bills, or to keep yourself, to maintain yourself in Rio de Janeiro and study at EBAPE. Now, specifically talking about the selection process for this 2021 intake, this is the calendar for the second round of the Master and PhD selection process. The selection process is combined Master and PhD. Of course, when you apply, you need to identify if you are applying for the Master or for the PhD, but everything that I will say about the selection process applies both for Master and PhD. So the application period goes until December 11th this year. So you will need to apply. While you're applying, you need to upload many documents. We will analyze those documents, and depending on your performance and depending on the quality of your documents, we will interview you. The interview the interview sessions will take place between Friday, 18th of December until 22nd of December, just before Christmas. And then, sorry. I hope that I will be able to announce the final result on December 22nd as well. Hence, you have between Christmas and New Year's Eve to enroll in the program, to go to FGV or, I don't know, online, present all the documents, sign the contract, whatever you need to do. And classes will start on January 11th. Sorry, I'm so sorry. What does it mean, the second round? Well, we organize the selection process for Master and PhD at EBAPE in 2 rounds. Both rounds are identical. They follow the same criteria. Everything is just similar. For instance, by next week, we will interview the candidates that applied for the first round. And why do we organize the selection process split in 2 rounds? Very easy, very simple to understand. As I said in the beginning, the audience that we target for our Master and PhD program are international students, not only Brazilian students. And we know how time-consuming is the process of getting the visa to study in Brazil and then arranging your housing in Rio de Janeiro and select an apartment nearby FGV or whatever you can afford. So we organize the selection process in 2 rounds just to give the opportunity for international students or Brazilian students outside the Rio de Janeiro area to apply. And then if they apply in the first round and they get approved in the first round, they will have more than 4 months to organize themselves to move to Brazil or to Rio, to establish their house in Rio, to attend to classes on the beginning of January. As well as some of our students work, usually they are public servants, and if they work for the public sector or the private sector, I don't care, they might apply within their organizations for a sabbatical leave, uma licença, normal, usually a paid leave from their employer. So many of those candidates that apply for the first round, they are either international students or outside the Rio de Janeiro area, or they work. And then they get the result where we say that they were selected, they were approved in the selection process, and then they can negotiate with the employers for a leave. So when classes start in the beginning of January, they will be full-time dedicated to the program. So these are the 3 main reasons why we split the selection process in 2 rounds. If you miss the first round, no problem at all. You have until 11th December to apply for the second round, and you follow the same criteria, the same requirements as we are demanding from the candidates from the first round. And which criteria, what do we demand from them? The selection process is composed of 2 phases. The first phase is the documental analysis based on the documents that you need to upload in the selection process, in the application process. I won't read all of these documents, but notice that you need to upload your undergrad diploma, the standard tests. You might choose freely which one of these you will upload. Usually candidates submit the resultado ANPAD, the certificado ANPAD, but they can submit the certificate from ANPEC, GRE, or GMAT, no problem. On the top of that, you will also need to upload your English proficiency certificate issued by IELTS, TOEFL, IBT, Cambridge, or EPITS from the British Council. We accept either one of these 4. Your CV structured under the LATS website, letter of intention, please in English, and 2 recommendation letters also in English. Why in English? As I said, we have some faculty members that are not Brazilians, and although they speak Portuguese, they do prefer to speak in English, and we will read your motivation letter, your letter of intention, and those recommendation letters in English, please. And we will choose up to 2 research tracks in order of preference. So we will organize who will be your interviewers in the second phase, the following phase of the selection process, based on the track you choose. I will invite faculty members that do research on both research tracks that you choose to help me intervene you in the selection process. And only if you are applying for the PhD, we also demand you a pre-project of dissertation. Please, this pre-project is very short document. Let's say 5-page, 6-page long, no more than that, making very clearly, stating very clearly what's the purpose of your research, your motivation, the basic theoretical framework that you apply, the methods, the relevance of your research. But don't be prolix, please. Be very specific on objectivity. Objectivity is also a very high valued characteristic of your pre-project or dissertation. And the interview. So depending on your results in these standard tests, and depending on your proficiency, and depending on, let's say, the matching between your PhD pre-project dissertation and the EBAPE's research interest, the research tracks that we offer you, you might be selected to the interview. So we will interview those candidates to the interview, and again, we will interview you by a group of professors, usually myself and colleagues that work in those research tracks that you choose while you applying. These interviews, most probably by December, will be conducted through Zoom or another online platform. So no worries, no need to come to Rio, no need to come to EBAPE for the interview. You can be interviewed abroad if you are not nearby. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to call us or send us an email. And I do exhort you to read about the program on our website. There are many information available for you there, as well as this presentation, these PowerPoint slides will be made available there, as well as video like this. Okay. So great pleasure to talk to you. Now I will move to the Q&A session. Questions, please. Let's see. What do I have here? The first question, I guess I had already answered. How do you plan to return to regular classes considering the COVID outbreak? As I said, so far, we don't have any decision made in that regard. Most probably, once we are allowed to go back to the building, we will offer the courses both for students that are in the building, face-to-face with us, physical attendance, as well as through Zoom. So the professors will teach simultaneously for both groups, students that will be in the classroom, as well as those that will be connecting us virtually through Zoom, okay? It's my expectation. Let's see what really happens, but I really believe that will be the first move in their way back to the building. The second question, considering the COVID experience, do you plan to introduce more remote activities to enhance interaction instead of strict demands to in-house learning? Well, we need to discuss that. I'm so sorry. I don't feel comfortable to answer that question, because it's not my personal view that really matters. I need to discuss that with the dean and other instances at FGV. So I prefer to skip that, if you don't mind. In the master program, international experience is mandatory? No, it's not mandatory. We do exhort our students to get an international experience, both from the master or from the PhD, but it's not mandatory. If it is not, how a student can apply for that? So it's not mandatory, but you might go, you might apply. And I already said about the funding to help you while you are abroad. Now I will discuss some other issues. I'll take the opportunity to answer a question, another perspective, despite money. Usually, and what I will say applies both for master and PhD students, okay? Usually, students go to study abroad for a doutorado sanduíche or a intercâmbio no mestrado, going to a university to work with a specific professor that is in the academic network of your supervisor. So again, the supervisor has his network. He identifies a student he's supervising that has a very specific research interest, and he knows a colleague of him, the supervisor's colleague, that teaches in a specific university outside Brazil and does very good research in that field. So the supervisor uses to present the student to his colleague and see if there is a match and sees if his colleague from another university can receive these students for a 3-month, 6, 12-month period, depending if it's a master or a PhD student. And usually it works like this. But you, as a student, you might have already a good network, and you might know some good researcher abroad, and then you make the contact with such a research that you know, you have read his or her papers, you made contact with him or her through email and whatever, or other venue, and then you start that conversation, and then you identify that, yes, that researcher is really keen to receive you. And then you introduce, the student introduces such a researcher to the supervisor, and then again, try to create a matching environment. So that researcher and his or her university can receive you for a stay. Or a third venue, you could go to our international relationship office and ask there which universities or which other PhD programs or master programs EBAPE has an MOU or a contract to receive PhD, doutorado sanduíche, or receive master intercâmbio de mestrado. And then they will provide you a list of universities, and you can just search on the internet about that university, about that specific program, see who are the faculty members from that program, and identify if there is a match in between your interest and what the university really does. And then you need to talk to your supervisor, because at the end of the day, your supervisor is there to supervise you. In the supervision includes suggesting you where to go for such an international experience, okay? And with whom you should or could work with. And there is one more question. Regarding working professionals that do not have availability for full-time dedication to the PhD program, any way to participate on the program? Yes, you can, as I said, you can participate in the program. You can apply, first of all. If you are an outstanding candidate, you might be selected. And once you are selected, you can enroll in the program, and you are very welcome to join us in the program. However, the program was not designed for students that work. The program was designed for students that are full-time dedicated to the program. It means that we are too much demanding. And then it's up to you to manage the equilibrium between your duties to the program, that what really matters to us, plus your duties to your family and your duties to your employer. It's up to you, sorry to say, it's your problem how you manage that. Since you can manage the demands from the program, it's okay. You are welcome to join us to stay and to conclude the program. But be aware that, okay, I also suggest all of you to read the regulations from the program. It's all available at the program website. There is one issue that I want to highlight here. The students that collect D's or C's are invited to quit the program. In other words, any student that gets 2 or more D grades in any course are automatically excluded from the program. Students that get 2 C's and 1 D are also excluded from the program, and students that get 3 C's in any course are also excluded from the program. It applies to any student, all students. The rules are the same, no matter if students work or not. However, I might say, based on my experience there, the coordination, that usually students that are excluded due to such a low performance are students that work. So, again, coming to answering the same question, yes, you are welcome to join us even though you work. You can work with us, you can study with us, but the program was designed for those that are full-time dedicated to the program. And if any student, no matter if they work or not, or if they are full-time dedicated, you don't care. If students underperform, and the underperformance means 2 Ds, 2 C's and 1 D or 3 C's are automatically excluded from the program. Okay, I'm so sorry to say that, but I need to say, and you should read the regulations, all of you. The 5th question, who my supervisor will be? I heard only 1 professor per class is available to be a supervisor. Do we choose our supervisor or is it given to us? That's a very interesting question. Yes, we have that magic number, 1 student per supervisor per class. Yes, we do the best to enforce that rule. Students are allocated to supervisors as soon as they are selected in the program. So when you enroll in the program to start classes on January 11th, you will already know who will be your supervisor. Now, going back to our question, who chooses your supervisor? You, the program, or the supervisor? Well, I might say somehow a joint decision. You have the opportunity, if you are applying for the master program, in the motivation letter, that letter of intention, you might state very clearly not only which type of research you want to do, as well as who you would like to be your supervisor. You should say that if you already know who you would like to supervise you. If you are applying for the PhD, in addition to making that statement very clear on the motivation letter, you can also make that very, very clear in the pre-project of your dissertation. You will explain all your research project, and then you might also say who you would like to be your supervisor. That's very clear. On the top of that, you are very welcome to make contact with any one of the faculty members while you are in the application process. You have until December 11th to apply. So you can visit our website, identify what is the email address of the faculty member that you are interested and you are keen to whom you would be supervised by. And send him or her an email. Explain to him or her what are your research interests and why you would like to be supervised by him or her. And then you can start your conversations with your intended supervisor in advance. So when we go through the interview sessions over the selection process, that colleague of mine, your intended supervisor, will already know about you. It might help defending why we should select you in the program. You are very welcome to do that. And then when we will discuss who will supervise each student, if you had already started a conversation with your intended supervisor, most probably you will be allocated to him or her, because we used to respect and we do all our effort to allocate students to those supervisors, those professors that had already started conversations with the candidates. Okay? Do we have any more questions? I guess we have time for one more question. But if we don't, okay. Thank you, all of you, for attending to this webinar. I'm also very glad to the admission officer and GCOM, the Diretoria de Comunicação from FGV. I might say their names: Cristal, Gabriela, Danusa, Alessandra, Darlene, and the coordination staff, Blanche and Daniele. Without you, this webinar would not be possible. So thank you indeed for all your help and your support. And we have one more question. So let's see the question. One last question. Any plans for shaping a PhD program for working professionals? Our experience would benefit the program as much the program would benefit us, isn't it? Okay, that is here in Brazil, the regulations about postgrad programs. We have the doutorado acadêmico and the doutorado profissional, the PhD and the como é que fala o termo em inglês? MBA e DBA, yes, DBA, Doctoral Business Administration, okay, DBA, thank you. We have the opportunity FGV might apply to the government and to send a request to CAPES to be allowed to offer a doutorado profissional, a DBA. We hadn't done that yet. We are discussing to do that. We might make a decision in the next year if we will go in that direction or not. For sure, we will keep our PhD program, our doutorado acadêmico. We are discussing if, in addition to this, we will also offer a doutorado profissional. We hadn't decided yet. So I'm so sorry I cannot answer your question precisely. What I can say is that we are discussing that. Okay? And I agree that it's a two-way direction benefit. we would also, the program and the faculty and the other colleagues would benefit a lot from experience from professionals in doutorado profissional, but we don't offer that yet at EBAPE, okay? So no more questions. So thank you indeed for all of you, as I said, all of you that attended, and most important, those that raised the questions. Thank you indeed for your questions. And I also, again, I'm very glad to Cristal, Gabriela, Danusa, Alessandra, Darlene, Blanche, and Daniele. Thank you all. Bye-bye.